Buongiorno, people of the internet, people of YouTube, mon ami. Um, the winter sun is beaming through my bedroom window today, hence the sunglasses. I took my hair out to show you what a lot of hair I have and why I struggle to deal with it because it just does things. And it doesn't do what I want. You'd think, oh, that looks great, that looks fun. But no, it does the opposite of whatever I want. Because generally what happens to it is it just starts to flop down in front of my eyes like this and looks very disappointing. So today I thought I would talk about my Airbnb experience because it was the first time I've used Airbnb in Europe. So I thought I'd bring up my Airbnb listings and just have a little chat about that. My goodness, 1 minute already. I haven't even said anything. So the first place we stayed in was in Venice, Venezia. And this was for two of us. We were sharing a double bed. And one of the things I noticed was that it wasn't particularly clean, like not as clean as, because I clean for a living sometimes. So my standard is really high. Like I would never leave a hair or, something on the floor or dust that's so obvious or whatever. So I didn't know that was going to be a trend, but it actually ended up being a bit of a trend. So the bathroom had a very pongy smell, but I did hear that there was like a kind of that maybe Venice might be damp and smelly because of the water. But I mean, we were on the mainland, we weren't on the island, so because it's much cheaper to stay on the mainland in Mestre, because on Venice it's like double the price to stay there. But yeah, apart from that, it was kind of good. It was near a supermarket, had a little balcony, so we were like smoking, drinking on the balcony. But yeah, I'll move through these quite quickly because otherwise this video will be very long. The next place I stayed in was a hostel in Venice in Venezia for the last night. And that was surprisingly way more fun than I expected it to be, although I had zero sleep. So like we just put our bags in and then had a shower and stuff. And then there was actually a party on, which ended up being kind of like a nightclub. So that was like one of the most fun nights because it was just like people moving around, dancing, chatting to randoms. We ended up making friends with some Iranians and an American girl, and we had just a really fun night. And I danced until like, I don't know, 2 in the morning. And then just didn't really get much sleep at all. So, and the girl who was bunking above me was probably quite annoyed when I came in, stumbling in at whatever time it was. My apartment that I got, and I was just by myself in this one in Florence, was the nicest apartment I had basically the entire time I was on my trip. It was big, it was spacious, it was really well equipped. But again, I found the cleanliness level a little bit low for my standard. There was a few hairs on the ground. But apart from that, there really wasn't that much wrong with it. And I really enjoyed staying there. Although Florence, although the mozzies, the mosquitoes kept coming in because it was so humid that I was having the window open during the day, and then obviously once you turn the lights on in the evening, the mosquitoes were coming in, and I was just getting bitten every single night. I mean, I still have marks on me because I was getting about 2 bites every single night, no matter how much I try to kill them before bed or whatever. So even though it was a comfy bed, I got bitten, eaten alive, and Florence was very humid, so I was like sweaty and itchy. So that was a little annoying. And we walked really far in Florence. My feet were aching because I couldn't get those stupid, the bikes that you unlock with the app. I couldn't get my app to unlock them. I wasn't getting enough internet or something. So that was kind of annoying. And then we went to Napoli, and my apartment, getting to the bloody place was hard enough because the woman was like, meet me outside, and she was like, don't go to the apartment, go here, meet me outside. And then my phone wasn't working, I didn't have internet, and it was really fucking hard to like get a hold of her. I ended up finding her eventually because these other people helped me with the maps to get where I needed to go. FYI, people in Italy were super helpful and kind, and like helped me on pretty much every step of the way. And like anytime you were lost, people would like get their phone out and help you and carry your bags and walk with you and stuff. So like I must say that about Italy. Like no matter who you asked, everyone was like super helpful if they could help you. But where we were in Napoli was like right on this like street near, like, it's not too far from the main station and the Garibaldi Square or whatever it was called, like big square where the main station was, and it was a hectic area. And right outside the apartment was like prostitutes and drug dealers. Um, Surprisingly though, never felt unsafe once. Never felt unsafe. Nobody ever did or said anything to me that I thought was inappropriate or approached me in a way that made me feel uncomfortable. I actually find it, after I got over the initial shock of like the culture shock of going from Florence, which is very sort of metropolitan, quiet, sort of quiet, not in in terms of the traffic's noisy, but like, and the street's noisy, but like the people, there wasn't much, yelling or shouting in the street. And then you go to Napoli and it's like very noisy. Everyone's yelling, and like there's just, and people are just zipping in and out of each other, like in the little side streets, like in and out on scooters and Vespas and all that. So it's just, you have to keep your wits about you so you don't get like knocked over. Although they're so used to it that they're fine. and then and that one was very clean, but it was very like spaciously like decorated, so it felt a little bit echoey. Um, and then I stayed in a place in Clichy that it was kind of in almost like a high, this is in France. So when we got to France, it was like a high rise almost, like maybe 8 floors. And I was on like the third floor, and it was this tiny, it was literally the size of like my bedroom here. Like enough room for a bed, a bathroom at the near the front door, and then a little tiny kitchenette, like tiny. And that was literally it, and a window. Um, and that place initially, I was pretty pissed off with because it wasn't particularly clean. The sheets didn't look very clean, and the pillows were a bit grotty. But after a while, I actually kind of enjoyed it because right down at when you met the street, when you came out into the street, there was a bakery on the corner with this really nice man who was like super friendly, and we were chatting away to him and like practicing our foreign languages with him and stuff. So that was really nice. But the place was tiny, and I had some issues with the host, and I tried to get a refund, and I managed to get like £10 refunded. Wasn't enough, but whatever. And then the last place I stayed, I had the same problem with the internet that I couldn't get on because my phone was just like playing up, and I couldn't top up to get data, and then I didn't have Wi-Fi, so I was having to stand outside like KFC and stuff to try and. Anyway, eventually I got into this one. It's the same story for the last 3. They were really hard to get into. And that one, oh, so that was in Saint Denis. So I had to like get a train, and I was sick that day, and I had to like go, and it was freezing cold, and I didn't have internet, and then I had to go and fucking try and get into this Airbnb. And anyway, I did eventually get in, and there was no Wi-Fi. She was like, "Oh, it doesn't say Wi-Fi in the listing." I'm like, "Really? I swear I saw that." Um, and then yeah, it was fine. It was like a student accommodation, but the bed wasn't very comfortable. And I found almost all of the kitchens were a little ill-equipped, like apart from maybe the Florence one, like just not very good knives, and or like just not very good facilities to like cook and stuff. And I wanted to cook. Um, but the best part about the Saint Denis apartment was that there was a cat that came to the window and just came in and slept almost like a whole night on my bed. And it was so cold that night, I totally understood why it wanted to come in. And I was just like feeding it little scraps of food. So that was like a highlight. Okay, this video is 9 minutes long now. So I think we'll wrap it up for today. Excuse the sort of slightly disheveled. I still have been making zero effort. You'll enjoy it when I do finally put effort in, right? Okay. Love you. Bye.